Hey guys, I'm Megan.
And I'm Stephanie, and we are
Barn Besties
with
Farm Fresh advice
for you. So we are here to impart the knowledge that we have learned over the years of building and running barns so that you guys don't have to have the problems and the misery and the mistakes that we made. Hope you enjoy our videos. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, right?
Right, and we hope to save you time and money on your new adventures.
Absolutely. Hey guys, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Megan.
And we are
Barn Besties with Farm Fresh advice. Today we're here at my arena. Check it out.
We're going to show you her indoor arena and talk a little bit about why she built it,
And
how she built it,
and all the things.
all the things.
So I guess we'll start with, I had a 60 by, I think 120 arena, so pretty
The small dressage arena.
pretty small, and there was 11 stalls.
That was an indoor?
No, that was attached to the indoor.
Okay.
So my
No,
indoor,
your indoor was 60 by 120.
you got
Okay.
it. So 60
So
by
this is
120,
different indoor.
very different. Also, it was a tin, just pole barn that we had.
Very typical in Wisconsin.
in Wisconsin.
Or
Yeah.
probably the Midwest.
And so I decided I'd outgrown the current facility and needed to grow.
Expand.
Yep. And so we built 13 stalls, and we built an 80 by 200 riding arena that was insulated and heated, so we could use it year round.
Because we are in Wisconsin and
Yay!
it's freaking cold in the winter.
Too cold in the winter. So to enter my arena, it's a little different. We have a doorbell.
Hello, who's there?
So in the winter, you have to hit the doorbell. You must wait. That is imperative.
And that's because this door is actually down in
Yep.
the winter. So behind me, Mr. Cameraman, is a garage door.
Yep. And we have a
And
little,
it's not a by hand, it's fancy schmancy.
yeah, we have a cool button. I'll show you really quick. So that's the down. We're not gonna go all the way.
Let's sit for a second.
And then
So,
it goes up.
hence the need for the doorbell,
Oh.
because you hit that button and there's a horse going by, you're going to probably dump the rider on the ground.
Yep, so yay for doorbell, but also I want to show you another cool thing. Check this out. There's a sensor. So let's say you hit the button next. I hope you don't, because you may or may not scare your horse. Because we do door training. So there is this nice little sensor down here to give you an emergency stop. I will tell you, we've never used it except for June uses it all the time in the winter.
So, June is her special squishy kittykins.
I don't know where she is. I'm sure
She's
she'll.
out hunting
Is
and
she?
being a good barn kitty. She's getting all the mousies.
So that is our door to enter the arena. I will say, in the summer we only open it first thing in the morning, and then at the end of the day we do close. I close it because I close my arena because I don't want the animals, the birds in my arena, because they eat insulation, they make holes, all the things. So that's what happens there. But in the winter time it is heated, so we have to open and close the door all the time. Your horse does become overhead broke.
So, is this somewhat insulated door?
It's an insulated overhead door that's connected to an entire gearbox. You don't want it to break. It has broke.
Ooh.
We'll talk about that later. You want to make sure you
Different video.
Yeah, different video. You have people on standby that will come immediately when it's cold. Otherwise, you have to turn off your heat.
Yeah.
You'll also-
So, can you not disconnect it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Another video.
Another video.
Another video.
So I do want to share. I call this the tunnel, even though it's not really a tunnel.
So, we'll walk by Mr.
Oh,
Cameraman.
Look at you, Judy!
It's June!
She heard her name.
It is the famous June Kitty coming down to have her time in the arena.
So she will stop the door frequently in the winter. It's a lot of fun, actually, I gotta say. And she'll actually burrow down and zoom out. Again, be very careful with the horses. Our horses are all June broke, so yay for us. But we have connected our barn to the arena. I think that's really important when you are designing your barn. Always, always, always have it connected to your arena if you are in a cold state.
If you can, it is the best thing to do, because otherwise you're going in and out of cold, and then if your horses wear blankets in the winter in order to get from point A to point B, the barn to the arena and back and forth, it's layers and layers. Not only for the horse,
ice,
but yourself, and you're going out against the snow, you're going ice,
yep,
sleet,
all the things.
all the things. And even in summertime, you're running in the rain, getting wet. So, yeah, definitely. If you can make a tunnel.
Yep, I highly recommend a tunnel or connect the two buildings, however you do it, or you have stalls.
I like the tunnel.
I love the tunnel because
it's some separation, and it does keep. If you say you have an arena that's a little dusty, it does keep the dust away from the stalls. Worst thing is to be so close with your stalls to your arena, and you have a dusty arena. It's bad for not only the horse's lungs, but your lungs, my lungs.
And also, as an instructor, as a rider, as a trainer, it's nice not to hear any pounding, anyone getting ready, anyone talking. We don't
and
have,
vice versa.
We don't have the distraction.
There's some privacy for you teaching your clients. Your clients are entitled to the privacy of their lesson and not having other clients sitting and listening in to the good, the bad, and
I didn't think about
the
that.
fabulous. So there's some privacy as well. So it's pretty great.
And we got lucky because this used to be my outdoor. And so I was trying to figure out how we could build a larger arena. So that's actually how we picked it, because I would say this is, 50 feet of a tunnel. And you'll notice that there's 2 doors, so you can go either way to leave the barn. So it's good for emergencies.
And you've decorated
We do
the tunnel.
We do decorate. The other nice thing is we keep the muck bucket in the warmer months outside with the fork right above it. And any utensils that we use to level the arena, and that'll be a different video. We can talk about those.
You've got a window here even for ventilation.
We have a window. And the cameraman, if you can look up above, I don't know if you can see, it is at an angle. The roof is at an angle. It's also, I cannot remember what they call it, non-stick, non-condensation. And
oh, nice.
This actually works. I wish they had that technology when we built our other barn. So this tunnel doesn't rain.
That's nice.
So
what she means by rain is when you get the condensation. Like this morning we're filming, it's very foggy outside. With the tin being cold, it's attracting moisture, and we're getting water condensing and running down the sides of the barn, but it also condenses on the ceiling in drips, aka raining in the barn.
Yep. So
you can hear it actually dripping.
Yeah, you can hear it coming off. But come on into the arena.
Woo-hoo. She's big, Megan. She's big.
We'll let him.
I love it. You said 200?
It is 200 by 80.
200 by 80. That's amazing. Now I see you have on the short side a whole bunch of arena mirrors.
We have mirrors.
I love that.
Highly, highly recommend it. The way we built it, we had to put plywood. We had to put a whole
backing on it.
It is at an angle. I cannot tell you what the angle is off the top of my head. I'm sure I can get that information if you need it.
So it's not straight vertical up and down.
It is not straight up and vertical. That way I can see my position. So why we use the mirrors, it's really important when I'm training alone. I can check my posture if I'm not in a lesson. I can check my horse exactly. You don't want to be sitting like this or like this on the horse.
Like
and
this?
So exactly. So we have the mirrors. So as you're riding, you can check your posture. As I'm teaching, all of my students can check their posture. I use the mirrors all the time. All the time.
Absolutely.
I highly, highly recommend it. You'll notice.
Wait. Before we get off the mirror conversation, what happens if a horse goes by bucking and hits one of those? They're pretty high though, right?
Yeah, I would
So your
say.
kickboards. I'm cameraman. I am 6 feet tall, so it's all the way around its level. So these must be about 5 feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're pretty high, just to keep them safe in general.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go any lower. If you have a lower kickboard, I
No.
wouldn't put your mirrors lower.
These are my favorite
So
kickboards,
this is really
and
nice.
you can see that they're also at an angle.
Yeah. Maybe Mr. Cameraman, could you scooch back there and see the angle here?
How about this? Do this one.
Yeah. This is great. So the horse is on here, you're riding, you're not up against the hard
No.
side. You've got room for your legs as the horse comes along. Let's say the horse is naughty and you're right on the horse is right on the rail, you've got some space for your legs, your legs don't get crushed.
Exactly.
Not that you want to ride on the rail, but that's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation.
But that's really nice.
Builders call these leg savers. Riders call them kickboards.
Yes.
And I have seen where.
Well, that's because if your horse does kick out, you don't want him kicking through the side of the arena.
Well, it's that, but it's also if your horse decides to take your leg off on the wall, some do.
Yeah.
I haven't had one in a long time do that, but they do it.
Knock on
It
wood.
saves your leg. So
Yeah.
because of that angle, I highly, highly recommend. I've seen pole barns that don't have kickboards, and it's just the
Tin.
it's the tin, but it's also just the post. So
And
just
there's a
imagine
post, so you get your knee gets taken off,
every 9
or you
feet.
get a stirrup or
Yeah.
an iron caught on these. Oh,
So,
yeah, that's scary.
When you're building, I highly recommend. The other thing that we did, it looks fancy. It's not. It's PCV pipe.
PVC.
PVC, okay, pipe. And because this is where the two boards connect,
That's great.
and so we can bash
Whose idea
it.
was this?
The builder.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so smart, and you got it on the bottom
We
as well.
have it on the bottom. It's where the two boards connect. And so that way, because they get hit by the drag, the tractor, we can easily replace them.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That's such a great idea.
Yeah.
Cool.
What else? When we were building, our builder changed his thought process, because this is a steel building versus a pole. Because of the size of the building, we went with steel. Hopefully it'll last longer.
Well,
Hopefully.
and one of the things that we've talked about on all these videos is we are in Wisconsin. We do get winter here. We do get snowed.
The snow
And
load.
then the snow load is really important. If you're doing a pole barn, we've had harsh winters where pole barns, even
They
though they're
collapse.
built to code, they've collapsed
Yeah.
due to snow load. And because sometimes we don't generally get really bad winters here, but about I'd say two out
We
of every
used to,
two
yeah.
out of every 10 winters we get some pretty hardcore winters.
Yep.
We get some strong storms, a lot of snow. And I remember one in recent history, I think we saw 4 barns
Yep.
with pole sheds that collapsed.
So that's
So-
why we went with the steel. I think it's well worth the investment. This is actually one of my favorite arenas to ride in. And because the pitch is, 45 feet. It's 45 feet tall at the pitch. So, and the angle, I think is 35
Probably.
degrees. And we went with that, and it's interesting. I don't know.
They engineer it according to building code, right?
Well, we had an option. We
Mhm.
could have gone 45 or 35.
Right.
And in hindsight, I don't know. I'd have to think about it because at 35, if it snows, that means the melt will, the snow will come off the roof the next day, which is good and bad because in the other barn, the pitch was what? I think 45, so it was less. So it would snow, and then we would only have actually one meltdown in April. Over the
So then
winter.
the old pitch, the old arena, that arena's holding that snow
All winter.
which is really stressful on a barn.
And it's a pole
Honestly,
barn.
not good.
Not a,
Yeah, it's a pole shed.
Yep.
What we mean by a pole shed, it's complete wood construction. There's no steel other than, fasteners and things.
yeah, and it is just tin, there's no
That's hard
insulation.
when you got the snow that doesn't want to come off.
Yeah, but it is, knock on wood, lasted about 30 years.
Yeah.
So now we have this barn. What other things did we put in it? We put in windows.
For ventilation and light, right?
Yeah, I was very excited to have windows so I could look out and see the horses in the pasture as I work. However, I'll share with you a little secret. You can see those 2 windows are actually covered. And what happens with windows that I never really thought about is it brings in sunlight. So there was 2 sunlight patches at the letter C.
You mean spook patches?
Spook patches. And so I decided I did not want to deal with that. I covered them up, but I kept all my windows on the, so we deal with it on the long sides, but I wanted my circle at C.
We've got a couple of sunlight patches right now, but they're not intense. They're scattered and diffused right now.
Well, that's because we need to get new light bulbs and fixtures.
Well, that's another
We'll talk
topic.
about that next, because that's another thing you
That's
really,
definitely maintenance.
we can actually move into that, because you can see all the lights. I think there's over 100 light bulbs in here. We built the place in 2014, so wow, it is 10 years old. Oh my gosh. So now we're having to deal with more of maintenance issues. And so you really need to think about this. How do we change the light bulbs?
I'm guessing you gotta get a lift.
We have to get a lift. That's super expensive, people, and you
Well,
also need a
When
truck.
you do that, you get all the bulbs and you get them all done. Even if they're not burned out, I'd switch out as many bulbs as you can because of the expense of bringing in the lift.
And we did that last year. It was very expensive, and you'll see not all the lights work. So we get to do this month. We'll be doing the fixtures.
Yeah, changing out the fixtures is smart. So this is a little older technology now because it is fluorescent. It looks like. Are you gonna move into LED?
No, these are LED.
They are LED.
They are.
Wow.
Yeah, they are. And they told us, the builder actually told us that they were supposed to last 30 years. They did not.
No. So are they meant for indoor outdoor? AKA, I think they call it like shop use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
So that's one thing you need to think about is even though we're inside of a building, there's moisture and humidity in it. We're not in a house. We're not in a humidity controlled, heated, cooled, sort of heated in the winter, yes, but not really cooled or dehumidified in the summer. So has to be able to handle the moisture.
Well, the
So-
other thing, we're actually like in a basement. So
Yeah.
let's talk about foundations. So they were supposed to be pilars. So that means at every post here, these metal posts along the rail, was supposed to be a cement pilar.
A footing.
Yeah,
A pillar, yeah.
And so
okay.
it's
that
not.
makes sense.
but it's not,
Okay.
because the builder changed course, which is really important. I want to take a step back. You need to do your due diligence with your builder. We trusted our builder. However, our builder didn't do a good job budgeting, because he changed the plan, and there are, I don't know.
It's a true foundation?
It's
or
a
what is
true
it?
foundation like
Okay,
a house,
So a cement foundation.
which changed the cost by $90,000.
Whoa,
that
well,
is
all
a-
that concrete.
Yeah, and we had already had an amount that we had agreed to, so what that means for the builder, he doesn't make any money, and so he stops working on your job. So our job was supposed to be 4 months, and it became a year and a half, and we actually had to fire him, and the job was supposed to include the arena, the tunnel, and our manure house. Well, we fired him at the last point at building this building. We still had to put tin. So I had to pay double for the tunnel and double for my manure house and feed room. So make sure, guys, do your due diligence. It was probably one of the worst experiences of
Good
my life.
contracts too.
Yeah.
Get it all in your contract.
In writing, yeah.
And so was he, I'm trying to think of what the phrase is. Did you go through, I don't want to say, I'm sure he was insured and bonded, but, like, was there draws? Were there draws where he had to complete certain steps in order to make his
Yes.
draw? Yeah, make sure you guys are doing that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though,
Every little bit helps. It did
yeah,
help,
it
yeah.
really didn't help our situation here. However, I have to say, after all the pain, I do love this building. However, there would be many things I would do differently, especially when you
Those are many videos
are
to come.
getting along. So, but let's move on to more positive things. The other thing, let's talk about footing.
No,
So-
let's do that in another video, Megan.
Do it in another one?
Yeah, because I'm sure we're getting kind of
Okay.
long here. And,
Okay, another video.
I think you've given us a great
Oh,
view
but there's
of your.
Two things I
Two more
wanted to,
things?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Two
I
more things?
do think, cameraman, just slowly go to the left, check out the fridge.
Oh yeah.
I highly, highly recommend having a fridge.
It's just like a little dormitory size
Yeah,
fridge, right?
if you're a professional, but even if
Or
this
a
is,
hotel room refrigerator.
you want to put water in here. We also have hot water, so because it gets pretty cold, so we can have tea, we can have coffee.
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate.
Ooh, yummy.
I highly, highly recommend that. And then
So you must have power here.
we didn't talk about outlets.
Oh.
So we host clinics. And so I would recommend putting outlets in the middle of your arena because we get
Hot speakers, or what do you do?
Well, they're not for speakers, they're for the clinician, because even though this is heated, this is cold for clinicians coming in from California, because it goes down to
We're
40.
down south in the deep south.
Yeah, and it doesn't get higher than 70. So we put little plugs and we can wrap them in heated blankets. So I highly, and then you don't have to string a cord out. So, and then also we have headsets that we plug in. So I find it wild that you need outlets everywhere.
You need power
everywhere.
Everywhere.
So come on down, check out this end of the arena. I want to discuss when building it. I think it was going to be like another 30,000. And I had really wanted it, but I couldn't. That's what like 20 feet costs. I wanted a viewing area, and I still wish I had done it, but I'm glad. I think I would have been bankrupt.
That would be expensive.
After all the construction. So now what we have are just chairs and a bench. No horses ever cross. I put poles down
Poles here
for people. I think I've been pretty lucky, but I really had envisioned a viewing room. Again, you have to be realistic. We all have budgets, and this was the limit of my budget.
Right.
So just wanted to talk about
It's
that.
something for people to consider. Do you need a viewing room? You know, I've seen viewing rooms off the long side. Personally, I would never recommend that. For sure,
Oh,
like you
no,
said, off the short side is better, because if you have a viewing room off the short side, you can really only see a limited amount.
Right. And I have been
So-
thinking about actually ripping this out and making another kickboard out here so I can have people sit back
You know
here.
what I've seen in some arenas is somebody will put actually a wall in,
Yep.
but it's only a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not so high that you can't see, but it's kind of meant to be a bit of a barrier. Now, it would never keep a horse out
Right.
if they were really being naughty, but
I was thinking a higher barrier because, like, I have parents, I have siblings that come.
how would you do that, Megan? Because of the view from sitting?
Oh, I have them higher.
So you would make
so
like
that
a-
I would raise this,
Okay.
and so they could
Very
sit
cool.
up here, but it would be like their heads would pop out, or maybe
Oh.
just the chest,
Oh
right?
my.
Because they move around, and so if we could,
You mean?
so this is a
They
downfall.
sit, and let me do
Yeah,
this
if
one.
someone is sitting here,
And they're kicking.
Yeah,
And they're doing this.
they do that, and I
they're
do.
scrunching and they're flopping things.
They do all the things.
Yeah.
So this,
Yeah.
I for right now it's great, but I do recommend a viewing room. I would definitely change
If
that
you can
about my
budget
room.
that.
Yeah. Again, budgets are budgets. I do want to show you this. We have a sound system. It's all automated and it's in this box. So I have a headset. When I have a clinician, we have a headset. So it can be, we can speak throughout the whole arena. However, we also have small headsets that go on the rider, as well as I have one, because sometimes there's two instructors teaching in here. So this didn't work. So if it's a clinic or there's only one horse and rider, one lesson in here, highly, highly recommend this. I can also practice my freestyles, and I can just hit the button, and it's, let's see, I don't know if I have a CD in here. So, but just to show you how convenient it is.
Sure.
And then I can't recommend hooks. You need to have hooks everywhere, so I can
But
put.
hook's not where the horses are.
No, you can
Or
see
riders.
this is the, yeah, a very good point. So we have hooks. We also have a door for human access.
I'm sure that was probably required.
It's required, but I do recommend it because I don't, for my barn, we have a lot of families, and I really don't want, the auditors, the families walking behind the horse as the rider is leading the horse down the ramp. So
Right.
I prefer only horse and rider, maybe instructor walking through the tunnel. All family members, spectators come through the human
That's
door.
an excellent safety point.
Yeah, so that's for me. And then I have extra like whip holders, and this is for bamboo in hand, where you'll also notice my labels are here. And then we do have an overhead door, and this is for the drag. And so we do have to winch it up.
Manually raise it.
One day we are gonna get a button. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
then
one day we're gonna get a button.
one day we're gonna get a button.
One day we're gonna be fancy.
And then the last thing I want to show you, we have a really tall mounting block. We have all our hooks. We have lunge whips. We have riding whips, and then
Lunge lines.
we have lunge lines. We have a lead rope, neck stretcher, and then hooks for people who may need coats. And then last we have extra spurs. Not everybody has their own spurs because this is a riding school. And then we have coolers in the winter, so we have a blanket bar to put our
it's
coolers
cold
up.
in Wisconsin.
Yeah. So,
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks for coming, you guys.
Lots of things to think about. I think we touched on a ton of things to think about. If you are looking at putting together a indoor riding arena, you need to consider the space. Now you ride really large horses. You have a designated show arena size, so you absolutely had to build to that construction. You know, if you're riding in a different discipline, you may need a completely different size. If you have show jumpers, you may want something really wide to put in, like a pre-ring, a Grand Prix show jumping type ring, or maybe you're going to want to do, you know, a big enough arena you can split it in half. We've talked about it here. Building costs, especially in Wisconsin, we have an interesting building code just because of the snow. We've talked about that. Obviously, if you're in California,
It's about water.
seismic considerations, water, and the sun, right? So, you know, different considerations for different parts of the country here in the U.S. And of course, if you're outside the U.S., obviously different conditions at all. But definitely some great ideas here. Let us know if you got questions, you guys, in the comment section, or shoot us an email. Yeah, really thank you, Megan, for this tour. This is great. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, you guys. And yeah, thanks so much, Megan. We really appreciate this. Thanks, guys.
Thanks
Should we
for
say
coming.
goodbye? Bye,
Bye.
guys.